Hello guys, thanks for joining this session. In this session we are going to look into another VPC component, that is Internet Gateway. So let's look into the diagram where we have left earlier. So in this diagram we have already discussed subnet route table. Now we will do the discussion on Internet Gateway. So what is Internet Gateway is? So basically Internet Gateway is one of the VPC components that allows communication between instances in our VPC and the internet. So basically an internet gateway serves two purposes. First, it provides a target in your VPC route table for internet route table traffic, and second, to perform network address translation for instances that have been assigned public IPv4 addresses. So majorly for these two things, Internet Gateway is being used within VPC infrastructure. Internet Gateway supports both kind of traffic, that is IPv4 and IPv6. Now we will move further and we will look into a diagram to understand the Internet Gateway in a more proper manner so that you can get a holistic view about the Internet Gateway, and whenever any questions comes regarding Internet Gateway, so that you can confidently answer the question. So now let's jump into the another diagram. So now you can look into this diagram and you will find that Internet Gateway can be used to provide the access of internet to the instance of the subnet. So here the questions comes over here is that how do we enable internet access to the EC2 instance? So then I can say that this is more of lab question, but again I wanted to introduce the steps which is required to enable the internet into the instance of VPC. So basically it is a 4-step process, and the first step what we need to do, we need to attach an internet gateway to the virtual private cloud, that is our VPC. Now can you tell me what would be the second step? We have discussed about this in our previous component discussion. Exact. So we can make an entry of internet gateway into the route table. So when we attach internet gateway to the VPC for providing the access of internet to the EC2 instance, then we should make sure that we should have unique public IP addresses is allocated to each instances, whichever instance is going to have internet access. So this is the third step. We should validate the uniqueness of IP addresses of each EC2 instances. Now coming to the fourth step, this is also very important and we have already discussed about this thing in one of our earlier discussion. So the fourth step is we should make sure that security group of an EC2 instances should have rule to allow internet gateway, else security group will not allow the internet access. This is one point. Another point, there is something called network access control which we will discuss later in the course, but for a time being just consider that NACL is also one of the component of virtual private cloud, that is VPC, that should also have an entry to allow internet gateway within NACL. So this is really very important. So the fourth point which we have discussed, for enabling the internet access to EC2 instances, we should make sure that NACL, network access control, should have entry to allow internet gateway, and security group should also have an entry to allow internet gateway. So now we understand that how to enable internet access to any of the EC2 instances of virtual private cloud. So now we will move further and we will discuss about some of the points to remember. So the first point, you should always remember that to use an internet gateway, your subnet's route table must contain a route that directs internet bound traffic to the internet gateway. Another points to remember is that to enable communication over the internet for IPv4, your instance must have a public IPv4 address or an elastic IP address that's associated with the private IPv4 address on our instance. Our instance is only aware about the private IP address space defined within the VPC and subnet. Another points to remember is that the internet gateway logically provide the one-to-one NAT on behalf of our so that when traffic leaves our VPC subnet and goes to the internet, the reply address field is set to the public IPv4 address or elastic IP address of your instance and not its private IP address. So this is about enabling communication over the internet for IPv4. Now we will discuss about how to enable communication over internet for IPv6. So to enable communication over the internet for IPv6. So to enable communication over internet for IPv6, our VPC and subnet must have an associated IPv6 CIDR block, and our instance must be assigned an IPv6 address. See here, there is IPv6 address and this is IPv4 address in the diagram from the range of the subnet. And make sure that IPv6 addresses are globally unique and therefore public by default. So this is what I wanted to discuss in this session. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.